A debate centered on a piece of true crime history is raising questions about authenticity and accountability. A private collector claims a pair of glasses on display in East Tennessee at the Alcatraz East Crime Museum may not belong to serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer.
But the museum tells us they are standing by their vetting process. 10 News reporter Lauren Davis explains what is at the center of this dispute.
A pair of glasses tied to one of America's most infamous serial killers is now at the center of a debate. Jeffrey Dahmer was a Midwestern serial killer and sex offender who killed 17 teen boys and men across more than a decade. An inmate murdered him in prison in 1994. Dr. David Adamovich of New York says he owns what he believes are the only authentic glasses worn by Dahmer. He's written a lengthy article in which he says the other pairs on display elsewhere don't match up.
I state it's a fact. The pair that I have are the only authentic Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. They are his father's glasses. And I documented that in the article with a side-by-side, here's what's on display. Here's an image of Lionel wearing those glasses.
The Alcatraz East Crime Museum exhibits a pair of glasses that it says are from Jeffrey Dahmer's time in prison. The museum says its research refutes what Adamovich says.
We have letters, we have documentation. Like I said, there's even a VHS videotape of Jeffrey wearing these actual glasses.
Adamovich's background is anything but typical. He's a former professor who became a professional knife thrower and has spent decades performing on stage.
I was a competition thrower for 5 years. I turned professional when I was 55. And now I've been on stage 25 years.
Along the way, he built a collection of thousands of letters and artifacts connected to violent criminals. He's even got letters written by Tennessee death row inmate Krista Pike, the only woman on death row. The collector says the issue comes down to provenance, documentation proving where an item came from. Museum leaders say they worked with multiple sources to verify the Dahmer glasses.
We worked not only with Lionel, Jeffrey's father, we also worked with the artifact seller and the Columbia Correction Facility to ensure that the glasses we got are genuine.
He says the process took time.
We actually spent a year researching with Jeffrey's father and close friends and the facility where he was incarcerated to confirm that these are actual genuine glasses.
The museum and Adamovich have traded multiple emails until the museum told him to stop. It says as a precaution, it's reported him to local police in case he shows up at their door. They call the situation an ongoing defamation issue. Others in the true crime industry say disputes like this aren't uncommon.
It does happen. I have to be very careful of the artifacts I display. I want to make sure they are real.
Phil Chalmers, who is opening his own true crime museum, says verifying artifacts can be difficult, especially when items pass through multiple hands.
I want to make sure there is a connection to where that came from. Most of the items I get directly from the inmates myself.
Chalmers will even be displaying the Dahmer glasses in Adamovich's possession.
And if I do have to get something from somebody who's deceased, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, any of these guys, I really try to make sure I do my due diligence to make sure it's legit.
The disagreement remains unresolved, leaving questions for crime collectors about what's real and what's not. Reporting in Knoxville, I'm Lauren Davis.
Museum leaders say it remains focused on education and preserving historically significant artifacts and is no longer taking part in further coverage on the issue. Now, Adamovich says he hopes raising questions will lead to more transparency.